Hello and welcome. I'm Christina Lynn, President and founder of Rescue Children Now. We're very proud to be here today with a very special guest. This is one of our podcasts that we'll be doing in interviews as we talk about some really important issues. We are a charity, Rescue Children Now, that is helping to prevent the serious problem in the world today of child trafficking, and also to promote and prevent suicide as well. We're working hard with many people, and we have so many great celebrities and people that are stepping forward wanting to talk to us, survivors. And so we've begun a series of podcasts and interviews, and this is a very special one today. So I'd like to introduce Destiny. Destiny is a well-known, very well internationally known pop star and actress. And you now have a gospel record that's coming out.
Yes, we're
Right.
on a gospel record right now.
Oh, that's wonderful. Wow. That is fantastic. And you also have a documentary that's in the works. And if you'll give us the title of that, Destiny.
Finding Destiny.
That's a wonderful title.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, we're so excited to have you here. You have had such an amazing journey. And it's one that has really, really touched my heart. And I know it's going to touch the heart of so many people that are going to watch this today. So if you will, and then we'll talk more later so your fans out there will know more about your upcoming documentary and your new record and everything you're doing. But first, let's get right into your journey. You have had such a challenging journey, and you are such a hero. I want to say you've really inspired me.
I appreciate it.
Well, it's very true. So if you don't mind, let's get right into this and talk about what happened in the beginning when you were a young child. What was something that really went on? If you want to share your journey that changed your life at a young age.
I came from a broken family, so my parents got divorced when I was about 9 months old. I lived with my grandmother till I was about 6 years old. You know, my mum just wanted to be single and just be by herself. So I lived with my grandmother, and then my grandmother and my grandfather got divorced. So I just had a history in my family, just seeing people not be loyal to each other. And be very disrespectful to each other. But for some reason, even though I was seeing these things, like I had a lot of love in my heart, and I just couldn't understand why these things were happening. I finally went to go live with my mum when I was about 6 years old. Sorry.
That's okay, honey. Just take your time. And we really appreciate you opening up and sharing to help other people, as I know it will.
Went to live with my mum when I was about 6, and I had to witness a lot of things. Like, my mum had been in relationships where, you know, she was physically abused. Like, I would see my mum get hit all the time and just have certain people come in and out of the house and everything. And it wasn't, you know, I didn't grow up in, like, it wasn't private. It was a completely different lifestyle than I was living with my grandmother. Because my grandmother, at least with her, even though she was divorcing my granddad, but she always kept me clean, and she made sure no one came to the house. And it was just a different type of...
About how old were you at that time?
About 6.
Okay.
About 6.
So very formative years.
Yeah, like I had to see a lot of... I had to sort of be an adult from such a young little age without even realizing it. So I went to live with my mum, and then I wanted to live with my dad because I just didn't like the lifestyle that I was seeing and witnessing with my mother. Love her to death, but it just wasn't for any child to see.
No.
I finally went to go live with my dad when I was about 10 years old, and he was living with my grandmother, who she grew me up. I love her to death. She was everything to me. So he was living with my grandmother and my stepmom at the time, so he was already remarried. But unfortunately, they all had to go to work. So when I had to go to school, after school, I needed somewhere to stay because, like, my dad would work, my grandmother and my stepmom were working. So I would go to my dad's best friend's house, who he grew up with, because he had kids that were around about my age. So I would go there after school, and sometimes even school holidays, I would stay there for like 2 weeks while my dad was doing whatever he was doing with my stepmom. And then he was molesting me for quite a while, for maybe about a year and a half, maybe longer. I don't know exactly, but I was about 10 years old at the time.
And this was your father's friend?
My dad's best friend, he grew up with him. Like, my dad was with this man all the time. Like, he even had... they got a car business together where they would buy cars from the auctions, fix them, and at the backyard, my dad would be at the back spray painting or whatever, and like I would be in the shower or whatever at the time, and my dad would be all the way at the back, and this man would come in the bathroom. It was just disgusting. So I finally, my grandmother came into the room one day. I'm sorry.
Oh no, please take your time. This is, again, this is not an easy interview and it's not an easy thing to talk about. But I really admire your courage. But I want you just to only say what you're comfortable with.
Right. Well, I feel like I need to say it because, yeah, I feel like I need to say it. So my grandmother came in the room and she found me. I was trying to kill myself.
Oh.
I had my dad used to take these tablets.
Just take your time, sweetheart. It's never easy to go back on these memories.
I thought it would be easy. I'm sorry.
It's okay, sweetheart.
Okay, I got it. So my dad would have these tablets he would take for his ulcers. So I thought by watching movies, like if you took medication and took alcohol, that you would kill yourself. So I stole my dad's tablets and I took his Italian wine and I tried. So my grandmother came in the room and she was screaming. Then my dad came in and my stepmom came in. And my dad was like, "What's wrong?" And I finally had the courage to tell him what was happening. And my dad got really mad at the time and he's like, "If I go do something to this man, who's going to look after this family?" Because at that time, my stepmom just had my little sister Monique. So he made me feel bad for what happened to me. So it was like, who's going to look after the family if I go to jail, if I go kill this man? And he just had another baby with his family, whatever. Like, who's going to look after those little kids if something happens to him? So basically he said to me that, "Don't worry, I'm going to get you out of here. We're going to get away from this, whatever, and we're going to start fresh." At the time, this man and his family had won the lotto, right? There was like $16 million or something, but there was like 13 winners. So there was split between certain people. So it was really crazy that I'm in America right now telling my story because this family had gone from being broke and being the way they were living to being rich, and they went to Las Vegas. They went to America.
Oh.
While they were out here in the States, my dad was planning on moving me to Queensland to live in Australia. But by the time this family had come back to Australia, this family went and bought a mansion and a house in Queensland where we just had moved to. So again, still seeing this man, all that type of stuff. Then this other little girl, I'm not going to say names or anything, this other little girl, they were family friends with us as well. So she had come out to her stepfather and mum at the time and said this man was doing the same thing to her. Oh, no. So my dad and me went to the house. This man and his daughter, they went there, and it all came out in the open what he did. And then he made us feel bad and said that we were already matured for our age and it was our fault because at 10 years old we were more developed than most other children at that time. So he had blamed us.
See, that happens a lot.
Right.
Where the perpetrator will try to have the victim feel guilty.
Right.
Or like it's your fault.
Right. And I really did feel like it was my fault at the time. But the confusing part was this man had told, if you ever come near my daughter again, there's going to be trouble, like stay away, whatever it is. He meant that. He stayed away from that family, never seen him again. My dad also said the same thing, but unfortunately, when we ended up leaving Queensland, we went back to Melbourne. My dad kept moving me state to state, like for so many years. This family had followed us again back to Melbourne, and my dad had remained friends with him. And until today, my father is still friends with this man. And I'll have conversations with him and I ask him, "Dad, why are you still friends with this man for?" I can't understand. That was meant to be my dad. That was meant to be my protector.
Do you think your dad even really believed you and believed your story?
He did, because there was too many situations that happened. Like, for example, growing up older, when I was older, I got kidnapped and I got raped and went through all these experiences because of that situation from when I was a little girl. That person had carried that for so many years, and because certain people had found out about it, he had certain people after me and got me kidnapped, and I went through hell and back. So it wasn't just the fact that I went through as a little child. I had to live this for so many years up until I really came to the States.
Right.
So but he did believe, because we all had the conversation in front of each other, and the man had admitted what he was doing to the both of us. So he admitted it. And every time I asked my dad, "Why are you still friends with him?" he would never give me an explanation. Like, do you have something on? Does he have something over you? Do you owe him money? Like, what is it? Let's fix it, because I do love my family.
Right.
I have got a very, very big heart, and I don't know how sometimes with all the things that I've been through, but I have a lot of love in my heart to give, and it confuses me that when you say you care about someone and you love them, like, why would you hurt them? You don't hurt people that you care about. And that was my first experience. My dad he hurt me. Like, And till today, he's still, you know, I'll go on my dad's Facebook and I'll see this man posting and tagging my dad on Facebook, and I'm not disrespecting my father. I love him more than anything and I forgive him. But I have to tell my story now because there's other kids out there that go through the same things. And see, I was scared to actually tell my dad. I was going through it for nearly 2 years. I was scared to tell him because of this. Like, I didn't know what was going to happen. Was it okay? Was it, you know, like, was I really doing something wrong? I was a little child. I didn't even know what was going on.
Right.
You know, so, but because that wasn't fixed from a little child, I then grew up and went through certain experiences as an adult, which...
We all admire your courage,
Right.
because it's not easy to come out, and particularly when you're known and you have the reputation that you have and the following
Right.
that you have. So we just really thank you so much for your courage.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, but now that does happen a lot, where again, when you find out that a parent is not going to support you, how does
Right.
that make you feel? It feels like, do you have any support? You know,
I really
who's there
didn't.
for you?
The only person, like, growing up as a child that I felt loved and cared about me was my grandmother. Like, she was like a mum to me. She taught me loyalty, you know, because my grandfather died before I was even born, and she didn't get remarried. I'd never seen her date another man. She never was with anybody. And because there was so many disloyal people in my family, and then when I just seen this queen, it was like she cooked, she cleaned, she had morals, she had respect, she wouldn't go out partying, she wouldn't drink. Like, she'd like to play slot machines sometimes. That was her only, like, addiction that she had or whatever. But she grew me up, and I thank God for that, because somehow that instilled morals into me. Yeah. As growing up, like, you know, I was celibate for many years before I met my husband, because I didn't want to go be with any man. I didn't want to be with anybody. I thought everybody, like, was going to hurt me all the time, you know, being abused physically, mentally, spiritually. Like, I went through it all. So I didn't really know what love was. The only person that really loved me, like I said, was my grandmother.
Right.
And she always spoke about God to me. She always told me that God, you know, I had angels watching me, that, you know, that God would always have my back, you know, and that's why now I think it's so important. And I blame myself as an adult. I say, and this is why it's important what I'm going to say to kids, like, as a
Yes.
kid, you're innocent. As an adult, we know better. We know what's right and what's wrong. I take accountability for the things that I've been through as an adult, because somehow you put yourself in that type of situation. So even though, okay, those things shouldn't have happened to me, but I take accountability. Therefore, I shouldn't put myself out there. You know, the industry really wanted me to be a sex symbol. They compared me to some of the biggest icons in the industry.
The music industry particularly, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And just in general, like, always people were trying to make me be some type of sex symbol. And it was like, you know, I nearly went that direction. I was going to go that direction. I thought by, you know, like, you know, I wanted to be somebody. I wanted to feel like a, you know, for growing up all those years, not having any love, like, I wanted to feel like I was somebody. But it's like, you know what?
Of course.
I don't have to be a somebody by being a sex symbol, by talking about things in my music that's not even me, right? Why am I putting
Right.
myself out there and talking about all these things if that's not who I am? So of course, by me putting myself out there like that, that's what I'm going to attract. I'm going to attract those types of people in my life. So how am I going to, so that's why I take accountability. That's why I'm making this huge transition right now from the type of music.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Let's talk about that. So now you're transitioning over
Right.
to gospel, to a gospel
Right.
record. Tell us about that a little.
I would say it's more of a top 40 praising God type of song, right?
Beautiful.
I will go because I'm not a gospel singer,
Right.
But and I have so much love for all the gospel singers out there that have the best voices ever.
Right.
But I need to praise God, because being suicidal from such a young age and carrying that for so many years, up until last year, you know, I just overcame suicide. You know, I used to cut myself, and the reason why I'm telling my story, people know my story out there, and it's okay because I'm telling my story right now. I've hurt myself. I always thought that every time I got hurt that I had to hurt myself, because it's like I felt like I deserved it. It always brought me back to when I was a little girl, thinking that if that man molested me and my dad was still friends with him, that means I deserved what I went through. So I always felt like I had to punish myself somehow every time somebody hurt me. But God saved me.
Oh,
That was all I had at the time.
I was going to ask you how you were able to
Yeah,
step
because
out
it's
of
hard,
that
and I
overcome
understand
it.
that it's very hard for people that love and care about me to witness me go through these things, and it's hard.
Yeah.
And I've got to put myself in everybody's position and be like, how would I feel if it was the other way around?
Right.
So I can understand, to some people it's very difficult to them to see someone you care about go through these things. But I felt like I went through everything that I went through so I can tell my testimony now, so I can now help the next person, and I can go help children, because suicide is real.
Yeah.
Feeling insecure
It is.
and feeling not worthy and not cared about and feeling like everything's your fault all the time, like that's that's a full-time, like, it's crazy what goes up in here. But to be saved by that right now, I have to praise God. I can't be putting myself out there with this type of music just because I could have had the millions of dollars. I could have had all the fame in the world that I want. I could have made it 1,000 times. I've been in some of the biggest opportunities, but I didn't take it. Not all money is good money. Not all opportunities. And if I want to change and don't want to feel these things that I'm feeling anymore, then I got to make the change.
That's right.
And I got to break the cycle.
Right. And so let's talk about that to the audience now. I know that there are young girls that are out here that are watching this, or they're going to watch it.
Right.
And what advice do you have for them, Destiny, as to how they can maintain their self-esteem and their self-worth if they've gone through something like this also?
I think it's very important to be surrounded by people that truly love and care about you, and to pick your idols very, very wisely. I think it's very important what we listen
That's
to.
a good thing to say too.
Right.
Yeah, like what do you recommend on that to give them advice? And
Well, I even
in
know
that
for
area?
myself, even when I listen to certain type of music, I feel like it can bring certain type of energies in, you know? So even for
Right.
myself, like now, if I'm feeling some type of way, I straight away put on gospel music, I put on church, or even if for people, because I can understand not everyone has found Christ yet, because I hadn't really found Christ until, like, I always believed in God, but to have the spiritual connection that I have right now, that I am getting every day, some people don't have that yet. So what are these people going to do? Watch motivational videos. You know what I'm saying? Like, just pick your icons very wisely.
Exactly. That's very good advice. Right. Now, as we go back to your journey some more, so then you came to America, you got into the music business, and how did you continue on there, and what helped you to heal as you were able finally to be able to heal? I know you now are in a wonderful marriage. You've got a wonderful husband. Congratulations for that, Lawrence. So how did some more of this go about? And again, as we share your journey, I know that's going to help everyone that's watching.
Right. I started the music industry back home in Australia before I came out here. I pretty much did everything. I was an A&R for labels, co-partners in labels, radio host. I had my own record label, did the business side of things first. And then just like I said, I had a lot of opportunities. That's why I have got certain music that was out there. But meeting somebody in Vegas, meeting my husband in Vegas, I think a lot of things that he tried to explain to me as we were going along, like I always felt like I had to prove something to him or to just other people about being famous. And like I had all these opportunities, I was with some of the biggest people, but it's like, you know what? That's not really who I am. So how can I expect my husband to respect me or be some type of way with me if I'm putting myself out there like that? So I had to make a huge decision, and I think that's for anybody in life, right? You need to make a sacrifice. Do you want this lifestyle or do you want this lifestyle? Because what comes with this, there's a lot that comes with that. You know, you're inviting the dark side in there. That's when people do get raped, people do get kidnapped, people do get bashed, people get killed, people go to jail. There's a lot that comes with that. Or do I want the light? You know, and I chose the light. I chose God, and I'm grateful.
God bless you. Yeah. I'm sure you're very grateful.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now as you're reaching out again and helping other people know how they can find these things, I think there are people that will look and say, well, where do I look? Where do I go?
Right. When you're
What
feeling
do I do?
suicidal.
Right, particularly when you're feeling suicidal.
Well, like I can only speak for me right this second, that the time that I was really feeling like that was it. I cannot take any more pain. I can't take anything anymore. And it's like, that's it. I'm either going to do it right now, or like I said, I found God. I put certain music on that I've never heard before in my entire life, and I had that spiritual connection with God. And it's unfortunately some people don't have that connection with God. So, you know, they may reach out to somebody else. And like I said, it's a really tricky situation because the people that you may be reaching out to, some people are not, they don't understand how to deal with those situations. So they're going to push you away. So it's unfortunate there is some people out there that have really gone and committed suicide because they're not strong enough. But all I can recommend, if you are feeling like that, just go on Google, go on YouTube. If you feel like you're alone, that nobody is going to help you, or people are going to be embarrassed by you, whatever it may be, like, just try to work out, like, you need to try to love yourself.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and you can call the suicide hotline.
Yeah.
There are hotlines that counselors are standing by. There are people to help you. And of course, we were just talking before we did this and started the interview about angels.
Right.
I know we both believe in guardian angels, that God has angels to help us.
Right.
And that's so important.
I
to
definitely
know.
believe that. I should have
Yeah.
been dead so many times right now, and
So
to
just
even,
call in your angels, right?
Right.
Well, you were saying you could have actually been
I
dead.
could have been dead plenty of times, and to actually be here right now, and like I said, I just realized that I found my purpose, and I'm not going to put myself out there anymore to be something that everyone else wants me to be, because it doesn't make me happy, right? I've got to have everything that's in line with God, and when people really get to
Right.
know me and say, okay, she's got the tattoo, she's got this, and she's been through all these type of things, but they get to know me and they see that I have a very pure heart. I love kids more than anything in this world.
Oh, and they love you too. I've seen that.
You've seen, yeah. So I want to make a difference.
Oh yeah, you're making a difference already. And just
Appreciate it.
doing this today and speaking out like this is just so important, because it is going to help people realize, gee, I can pick up the phone. I can make a call. I can find a church. I can realize I have angels.
Right, and don't be scared to do that. Like I said, it is like, it's hard because some people get scared to tell other people about how they're feeling, and you can't leave that type of,
Right.
can't leave it inside. You definitely need to speak to someone about it.
Yeah, don't be afraid. And I know with Rescue Children Now, and also our sister charity, which is the Coalition for Children and Family with Henry Baker, we are having a new hotline that's going to be coming out in 2022.
Awesome.
We're very excited about that, where you can always call. You've always got a friend, and we're always there. We'll have trained counselors. But you can also call the human trafficking hotline. If anything like that is happening to you, you can always call them. They have trained experts that will really help.
All right.
A final question today is, I know it feels to me really like you've really learned to love yourself and respect yourself. And what would you recommend to those that are struggling with that out there?
I'm still learning every single day to love myself. It's a process. And to be honest, like I said, I think just really getting married and just meeting somebody, and you have to learn sacrifices, right? And it was like, I can't, God, I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm sorry, this was just a lot today.
No, honey, I know it was. You're doing
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, because I'm learning self-love every single day. Like I said, I just overcame suicide last year, so it's a process. But
See, that's the important thing, and I'm glad
Right.
you're sharing that.
Right.
Because don't think that it's just instant, like instant potatoes. You just snap your fingers.
not.
Oh, good, I've got self-love. It's a process,
right,
right? And let's talk about that a minute. It is, isn't it?
it's a long process because you have to wake up every single day and just realize you can't rely on other people to love you and care about you and to make you happy. You've got to wake up every day and you've got to thank God. God woke you up every morning, and
Yes.
say a lot of affirmations. And I've got church on now all day, every single day. I have to listen to church and listen to God every day. If I don't, then I know that I'm going to start feeling some type of way again. But that's just something that works for me. It doesn't
Right.
necessarily going to work for everybody else. But if you can just find something that truly makes you happy, or that's positive, or that's inspiring, and be around people that really care and that love you.
That's great
That's very
advice.
important.
That is wonderful advice, Destiny. You are so courageous, and you're one of my heroes.
I appreciate it.
You really are. I want to thank you so much for being here today and opening up and sharing so many important things. Is there any final thing you'd like to say as we finish today?
No, that's pretty straightforward. Just stay tuned for more.
Yeah, stay tuned for more. Oh, and they've got lots to look forward to, your fans, in 2022.
Yeah, like I said, I'm working on that new record right now, and I'm about to do this documentary.
Beautiful.
And doing the conference, speaking to the kids.
Yes, we're going to be doing a Rescue Children Now conference in 2022. So we'll have that on our website, so you can go to rescuechildrennow.org. And we'll have everything there. We're going to have actually a Destiny page, and the page will have this interview. It will have all the information about the conference, which is coming up. We're going to pick the right month, and we're going to have it in Atlanta, which is my hometown, and where Destiny is spending a lot of time as well. So it's just going to be a wonderful thing. But you've done such a beautiful job. Thank you so
I
much.
appreciate it.
You are so courageous, and you've been so willing to just be who you are and to tell the truth and to speak up. And I know that that's helping so many people. I know there's some of you out there today, and please don't hesitate to email us or call us. Our numbers and information and website has everything there on Contact Us. Destiny, thank you so much. God bless
appreciate
you.
it. Thank you so much.
And just keep up the beautiful journey that you're doing.
I appreciate it.
You're helping so many people.
Thank you.
Thank you.